I am in seat 22A when the train skips Morgan Street. And at first, nobody cares for the right reason. People care because Morgan Street has connections. People care because some man in a gray coat has a meeting at 9 a.m., and a woman 2 rows behind me keeps saying she already paid for parking at the station garage. A teenager near the aisle tells his friend the whole rail system is garbage now. Someone laughs, someone curses, someone asks the conductor if this means refunds. Nobody looks out the windows long enough. The train slows but does not stop. Morgan Street slides past us on the left side, platform lights still on, digital boards flashing, delayed in orange letters. There are police cars lined up under the canopy, not 1 or 2, 7, maybe 8, chuck doors open on some of them. A uniformed officer stands near the platform edge with one hand raised toward our train, telling it to keep moving. Behind him, the station doors are shut with metal shutters halfway down, and a line of people presses against the glass from inside. The man in the gray coat stands in the aisle with his phone raised. "Hey, we were supposed to stop here." The conductor does not answer right away. Her name is Gail. I know that because she checked my ticket 20 minutes earlier and made a joke about the coffee in the cafe car being old enough to vote. She is in her late 50s, sharp haircut, no wasted movement, the kind of railroad worker who can silence a whole car by just looking down the aisle. She is standing near the vestibule now, one hand on the wall panel, listening to something in her earpiece. The train picks up speed. Morgan Street drops behind us. A low murmur moves through the car. It starts annoyed, not scared. That matters. It matters because annoyed people still believe somebody is in charge. Gail presses the button for the intercom. It clicks twice before her voice comes through the ceiling speakers. "Folks, this is your conductor. Morgan Street is temporarily closed due to police activity. We are continuing to East Barron. Please remain seated until we have more information." The man in the gray coat says, "Police activity means nothing. That could mean a drunk guy on the platform." A woman across from me says, "It did not look like one drunk guy." He ignores her and goes back to his phone. I turn toward the window again. We are past the station now. She's moving between brickbacks of old warehouses and fenced lots stacked with rusted pallets. Morning light sits low over the roofs. The train rocks once over a switch. The sound is normal, steel and rhythm, and for a few seconds the normal sound tricks the car into settling down. I am on the Lake County line, train 814, heading south toward Halden Terminal. I took it because my truck is in the shop, and my sister needs me to pick up paperwork from our mother's apartment before the landlord changes the locks. That is the whole reason I am here. Not a heroic reason. Not even a good one. Just family mess, a cheap ticket, and a backpack with an empty folder in it. I am in the second coach behind the cafe car. There are maybe 60 people in this car, maybe more. Office workers, students, 2 construction guys with dusty boots, a mother with a boy about 7, a man in a nurse's jacket, 3 older women going somewhere together, and a quiet guy across the aisle from me who has not looked up from a paperback since departure. The boy asks his mother why the police did not let us stop. She says, "Maybe there was an accident." The boy says, "Where?" She says, "At the station." He turns his face to the window and keeps looking. East Barron is 6 minutes away. I know the route enough because I used to take this train years ago when I worked day shifts at a repair warehouse outside Halden. Back then, I slept through every stop. Today, I watch everything. My phone has 2 bars. I try the local news. The app loads a headline from last night about city budget talks, then freezes. I swipe down. Nothing refreshes. A message from my sister sits unanswered. "Did you leave yet?" I type, "On the train." Morgan closed. Police everywhere. The message hangs for a few seconds, then sends. 3 dots appear below her name, then vanish. No reply. The train enters a shallow cut between concrete walls marked with old spray paint. Signal lights flash past. The wheels get louder in the trench. A few people stand to get bags down before East Barron, even though Gail already told everyone to stay seated until more information comes. The man in the gray coat moves toward the vestibule with his laptop bag. Gail steps into his path. "Sir, please stay in your seat. I'm getting off at East Barron." "We don't know if we're stopping at East Barron." "That's my stop." "I understand." "No, you don't. I have a job." Gail looks at him for half a second longer than she needs to. Everybody on this train has somewhere to be. He opens his mouth again, then looks past her toward the next car, maybe hoping for another employee with weaker rules. He does not get one. A younger assistant conductor comes through from the cafe car at that moment. He is tall, maybe 30, with a red beard and a handheld radio clipped to his vest. Gail points at the aisle without speaking. He understands and blocks the other side. The man in the gray coat mutters something and returns to his seat. The train begins to brake. East Barron appears ahead through dirty glass and morning glare. The platform is on the right. Usually it is busy but calm. Commuters in lines, coffee cups, backpacks, station staff moving trash bins. Today the platform is too full. People stand shoulder to shoulder beyond the yellow strip. Some are waving at the train. Some are pounding on the closed doors of the station building. A police van sits angled across the taxi lane outside. The train slows to almost walking speed. Every person near a window goes quiet. A woman on the platform runs alongside us for 3 seconds, yelling something we cannot hear. Her hair is loose, her coat half on, one shoe missing. A transit officer grabs her by the arm and pulls her back from the edge. Another officer shouts toward the cab of our train and cuts both hands across his chest in a hard no. The train does not stop. This time the complaints come slower. Somebody says, "What the hell?" The nurse in the blue jacket leaves his seat and moves to the window. He watches the platform until it disappears, then turns toward Gail. "Was that a quarantine?" Gail does not answer him. That tells us more than an answer would. The assistant conductor's radio cracks. The volume is low, but I hear fragments because he is standing 5 feet from me. "No passenger release, confirmed closure. Do not platform. Repeat, do not platform." Then another voice, sharper, buried under static. "Incident in lower concourse. Multiple injured, units overwhelmed." The assistant conductor reaches down and turns the radio lower. That is the first real mistake. Not the radio, not the closure. The mistake is trying to hide a sound after people have already heard it. A man in the back row says, "Multiple injured?" The mother pulls her son closer without making a scene. The boy leans against her side and keeps staring at the window. My phone buzzes once. My sister. News says attacks downtown. Mom's building not answering. Don't go into Halden. I read it twice. Then the signal drops to 1 bar, then none. The train curves away from East Barron and enters the industrial stretch before Ravine Park. Empty lots, car washes, storage units, a line of box trucks parked behind a chain fence. Traffic on the parallel road is not moving. Cars sit bumper to bumper, and people stand outside some of them, looking south. One man climbs onto the hood of his car to see over the line. Another car turns across the median and scrapes its underside hard enough that I hear the metal through the train glass. The train keeps moving. Movement still feels safe. That is the lie we are living inside. As long as the train rolls, people can pretend the problem is outside and behind us. The steel shell gives us a simple story. We are not trapped. We are being carried away. Gail makes another announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, we are being routed express for the next several stops. Please do not attempt to open exterior doors. Please do not move between cars unless directed by crew. We are in communication with rail control and emergency services. A man near the cafe car entrance says, "Routed where?" No answer. A student with headphones around his neck says, "This is insane. They can't just hold us." The construction worker beside him says, "Sit down, kid." "I'm not a kid." "You sound like one." "Okay, man, whatever." The train jolts over another switch. More phones rise. People try calls. The car fills with failed rings, robotic error messages, angry whispers, and the plastic rattle of overhead bins as someone digs for a charger. The old normal is still fighting to stay alive in small, stupid ways. Battery percentage, missed meetings, refunds, ride shares. A woman asks if the cafe car is still open. Then someone screams in the next car. Not a long scream. One sharp sound, cut off fast. Every head turns toward the door leading forward. Gail moves first. The assistant conductor tells everyone to stay seated and follows her. He slides the door open, and a wash of noise comes through from the cafe car. Chairs scraping, people shouting over one another. A metallic bang. Gail steps through. The door closes behind both crew members. Nobody in our car moves for maybe 3 seconds. Then half the aisle stands. I stand too. Not because I plan to help. I stand because sitting suddenly feels wrong. The quiet guy across from me closes his paperback and places it carefully into his coat pocket. The nurse in the blue jacket says, "I'm medical. Let me through." No one argues with him. He moves forward, shoulders turned sideways between passengers. At the door, he knocks hard on the glass. Gail looks through from the other side and opens it just enough. "What's your name?" she asks. "Leon Bell, registered nurse." I almost react because my last name is Bell too. No relation, just one of those details the mind grabs when everything else starts getting loose. Gail lets him through and shuts the door again. A woman near me says, "What happened?" Nobody knows. The train begins slowing again. This stop is Ravine Park. It sits under a road bridge with 2 side platforms and a small glass waiting room on the southbound side. Usually it is empty outside rush hour. Today it is dark. Not dim. Dark. The platform screens are off. The station lamps are off. The road bridge above is packed with stopped cars, but down at platform level there is no staff, no police, no commuters waiting in lines. The train slows more. A few people move to the doors. Then the front half of the platform comes into view. There are people down there, but none of them stands right. Some wander near the glass waiting room. Some press against the locked elevator doors. One man keeps walking into a metal bench, stepping back, then walking into it again. A woman in a red jacket crouches beside a trash can, not hiding, not resting, just folded there with both hands against the ground. A passenger near the window says, "Are they hurt?" The train crawls beside the platform. One of the wandering people turns toward us. His face is streaked with dirt or something darker, but the glass and speed blur the details. He sees the lit windows. He comes at the train fast enough to stumble. He hits the side of the coach with both hands. The sound is heavy and flat. Several people jump back from the windows. Another one hits the glass. Then another. Palms smack the outside in short, desperate bursts. Not begging, not knocking, just impact. The train keeps rolling. A man near the rear door says, "Don't stop! Don't stop! Don't stop!" Nobody tells him to calm down. We pass the waiting room. Its glass front is cracked in a spidered pattern from inside. Bags lie across the platform. A coffee cup rolls in the wind from the train. A station worker's orange vest hangs from the fence. Ravine Park vanishes behind us. The assistant conductor comes back from the cafe car alone. His face looks set in a way that makes the car quiet before he says anything. The nurse stays forward. The assistant conductor speaks without the intercom. Everyone needs to sit down. There is a sick passenger in the cafe car. He is being isolated. We are not stopping until rail control gives us a secured platform. The student says, "Sick how?" "Sit down." The man in the gray coat says, "No. Sick how?" The assistant conductor looks at him and says, "Sir, I need you in your seat." "You can't keep saying that." "I can, and I am." The construction worker stands again, and this time nobody tells him to sit. He is a big man with paint on his hoodie and a hard hat clipped to his bag. He points toward the front. What did he do? The assistant conductor waits too long. From the cafe car comes another bang. Not loud enough to be a crash. Loud enough to make everybody stop pretending the question does not matter. The assistant conductor says, "He attacked another passenger." There it is. The word lands wrong. Attacked. Not collapsed. Not got sick. Not had a seizure. Attacked. The mother covers one of her son's ears, then seems to realize it is pointless, and lowers her hand. The quiet guy across from me asks, "Bit him?" His voice is calm. Too calm. The assistant conductor says nothing. The quiet guy nods once, almost to himself. The train speeds up. We are between Ravine Park and Union Gate now, the longest stretch before the city. Warehouses give way to older apartment blocks. Laundry hangs on balconies. On one rooftop, 3 people stand looking down at the street. Smoke rises from somewhere ahead, thin and black. The road beside the tracks is worse now. Cars abandoned at angles, a bus with its front doors open, a bicycle crushed under a taxi, people moving in different directions with no pattern. I look for infected, but I do not know what I am looking for yet. That is the problem. We still have old categories in our heads. Sick, hurt, violent, drunk, panicked, criminal. We do not have the right word, so everything gets sorted wrong. My phone returns with 1 bar. Messages flood in all at once, then stop again. My sister, stay away from downtown. My sister, police scanner says station's closed. My sister, Adam, answer me. My sister, mom called me from neighbor phone. She is inside apartment, doors locked. My sister, do not go to her building, please. I type, I'm stuck on train. We skipped 3 stations, something in cafe car. It does not send. I try again. Nothing. The cafe car door opens. Gail steps back in, followed by Leon the nurse. Leon has a white towel wrapped around his forearm, but there is no red spreading through it. He carries himself steady. He looks at the passengers, then at the floor. Gail locks the door behind him with a small key. Someone says, "Why are you locking that?" Gail keeps her hand on the key. Cafe car is closed. The man in the gray coat stands again. You locked people in there? There are 2 crew members with the passenger. You can't lock passengers in a car. Gail turns on him. I did not ask for your legal opinion. That shuts him up for a few seconds. Not long. Leon moves down the aisle and stops near the mother and her son. "Ma'am, keep him away from the aisle if people start moving." She nods fast. "What happened?" I ask him before I can stop myself. He looks at me. His eyes are alert, not wild. He chooses his words. "A man in the cafe car became confused. He bit a passenger on the hand and tried to bite a crew member. He did not respond to voice. He did not respond to pain. He kept trying to get up." The quiet guy across from me says, "Was he feverish?" Leon says, "I don't know." That means yes or no. That means I don't know. The quiet guy accepts that and looks toward the window. Gail lifts the intercom handset again. The speakers click. This time her voice is harder. "This is your conductor. We are bypassing Union Gate. All passengers must remain inside the train. Anyone attempting to open an exterior door will endanger everyone on board. I need you to listen carefully. We are not opening doors at unsecured stations." A woman near the back starts crying quietly. Her friend puts an arm around her and looks embarrassed, as if crying is still a public manners issue. Union Gate is the first big station before Halden. 6 tracks, long roof, bus bays, retail concourse upstairs. If Union Gate is closed, the city is not dealing with a small incident. It is failing in sections. The train enters the approach slowly. Signals ahead burn red, then change to yellow. We pass a siding where another passenger train sits dark with all doors closed. I see faces in its windows, people inside watching us pass. One man has written help on the glass with something pale, maybe soap, maybe dust, maybe something else. No one in our car says anything about it. Everyone sees it. The Union Gate platform comes into view. It is not just full, it is broken. Luggage everywhere. A stroller tipped on its side. 2 vending machines overturned near the stairs. The overhead lights flicker in sections. The station announcement system plays something we cannot hear. The same phrase over and over from the movement of people looking up at the speakers. Police stand behind a temporary barrier on the far platform. They are not facing the crowd. They are facing the stairs. Then the crowd surges out of the stairwell. Not normal running, not evacuation. People spill upward from the concourse, climbing over one another to reach open air. Behind them come others moving wrong, too direct, grabbing at coats, arms, hair, bags. A transit officer swings a baton, then disappears behind bodies. A woman jumps down from the platform to the track bed and falls hard on the ballast. She gets up limping and waves at our train. Our train does not stop. People on the platform run alongside us, hands slap against windows. A young man grabs the exterior door handle between cars and tries to pull himself onto the step. The train is still moving slow enough for him to try. He pounds once with the heel of his hand and shouts at the glass. His mouth forms open up. The student in our car runs to the vestibule. Gail sees him and moves, but the construction worker is faster. He catches the student by the back of his jacket and yanks him away from the door. "Leave it," he says. "That guy needs help." And you open that door. All of them come in. He's right there. The young man outside loses his grip. He falls away and rolls on the platform. I see him sit up. I see another person collide with him. Then the window frame cuts them off. The student turns on the construction worker. "You piece of—" "Sit down," the construction worker says. The student shoves him. It is a stupid shove, weak and angry. The construction worker does not hit him back. He just points to the window. "Look." The student looks. Past the platform, through the open station doors, the concourse is full of people running and other people chasing. Not chasing with purpose anyone can reason with. Chasing because movement attracts them. A man with a torn business shirt slams into a pillar, bounces off it, then keeps going toward a group trapped against a closed gate. A station employee swings a fire extinguisher to clear space. The extinguisher empties in a white cloud. The cloud catches the light and hides everything below the shoulders. Our car goes silent again. The student backs away from the door and sits on the floor instead of a seat. Union Gate falls behind us. The train accelerates, then brakes hard. Everyone grabs something. Bags slide. A coffee tumbler rolls from under a seat and knocks against my shoe. The lights blink once but stay on. Far ahead, the horn sounds twice. We stop between stations. No announcement comes. That is worse than any announcement. For almost a minute, the only sound inside the car is people talking too low to understand and the faint hum of the ventilation. Outside, the train sits on an elevated section. To the left are apartment roofs and a school playground. To the right, 6 lanes of road stalled under us. A siren runs somewhere below, then stops without fading. The assistant conductor's radio hisses. Obstruction ahead. Hold position. Possible trespassers on right-of-way. Another voice cuts in. Control 814 has a disturbance on board and no secure platform behind us. Static. 814, maintain closed consist. Do not detrain. Police access unavailable. Gail says into her own radio, Control, define obstruction. No answer for a few seconds. Then, reports of people on track between milepost 18 and Halden North. Signal power unstable. Hold until cleared. People on track. The phrase moves through the car. People repeat it in different tones. Some sound confused, some angry, some already understand. The man in the gray coat says, If there are people on the track, we wait for police. That's it. The quiet guy across from me turns toward him. Police are not coming here. You don't know that. We just passed 3 stations. Police are losing stations, not clearing tracks. The gray coat man looks at him with contempt. And you are? Someone with eyes. Gail walks down the aisle. I need everyone calm. We are holding until instructed. Leon follows her. He stops near my row. The towel on his forearm is gone now. I see a line of broken skin near his wrist. Not bad, not deep. But there. I stare too long. He sees me looking and lowers his sleeve. Was that from him? I ask. He looks toward the cafe car. He grabbed me against a broken counter edge. Not a bite? No. I want to believe him. I do believe him. Then I remember he said the sick passenger did not respond to pain, and I understand belief is already becoming a survival risk. A crash comes from the cafe car. Gail turns, another crash, then a man yelling, "Hold him! Hold him!" Passengers stand again. This time nobody waits for permission. Gail runs forward. Leon goes with her. The assistant conductor unlocks the cafe car door from the other side and opens it. The sound comes through clear. A table scraping. A chair knocked over. A man making a low, rough noise that has no words in it. The noise changes when other people shout. Gail slips inside. The assistant conductor follows, but before he can shut the door, a woman from the cafe car pushes through into our coach. She is maybe 40, wearing a black blouse and a name badge from some office. She has blood on her sleeve and coffee spilled down the front of her clothes. She moves too fast. Fee hits the side wall, then keeps going down our aisle. "I'm not staying in there," she says. "I'm not staying in there with him." The assistant conductor reaches for her. She jerks away. "Ma'am, stop." "No." Behind her, through the open door, I see the cafe car for half a second. Tables, a fallen trash bin. Two men trying to hold another man against the floor near the counter. The sick man is twisting without any awareness of the people holding him. His mouth opens and closes. Gail is trying to pull someone else back. Then another passenger in the cafe car panics and runs for the same door. He hits the assistant conductor from behind. The door opens wide. The sick man gets one arm free. Everything becomes movement. The two men holding him lose balance. One falls. The sick man crawls forward with ugly determination. Not fast at first, but unstoppable in the way a person becomes unstoppable when he has no plan and no fear of consequence. Gail kicks a chair into his path. He pushes into it, shoves it aside, and keeps coming. Leon grabs the door handle and yells, "Back!" The assistant conductor recovers and helps him pull the door shut. For 1 second, the sick man's hand comes through the gap. His fingers close on the rubber edge of the door. Gail raises the fire extinguisher from the wall bracket and strikes his hand. Not hard enough to crush anything. Hard enough to make the fingers release. The door slams shut. The assistant conductor turns the key. The cafe car erupts behind the glass. We can see people inside now. 3 passengers on our side of the locked door, begging to be let through. 2 more backed against the counter. The sick man hits the glass. Once. Twice. His face leaves a smear. His eyes do not settle on anyone. He just reacts to bodies moving beyond the barrier. The woman from the cafe car stands in our aisle, shaking her head over and over. A passenger shouts at Gail, "Open it! There are people in there!" Gail says, "Move back." There are people in there. I said, "Move back." The construction worker steps into the aisle beside her. He does not say anything. His presence helps more than another order. The sick man turns from the glass toward the passengers trapped in the cafe car. We cannot see what happens next, because Gail grabs the privacy curtain and yanks it across the window. People yell at her for that. They call her cruel. They call her worse. She lets it hit her and does not answer. The train remains stopped. Outside, on the elevated track, people begin appearing from the north. At first, I think rail workers are walking toward us. Orange vests, dark pants, one helmet. Then I see the way they move. Not workers, not together. Some are still in normal clothes. Some come from the service walkway beside the rails. Some climb from an embankment farther ahead. The quiet guy across from me stands and looks out. "How many?" I ask. He counts without moving his lips. 9 visible. The mother says, "Are they coming here?" No one answers. The train horn sounds from the cab. One long blast. The figures on the track turn toward us. That was a mistake too. The horn stops, but the sound has done its work. The people on the track begin moving toward the train. Some walk. Some run in short, uneven bursts. One falls between the rails and gets up with torn palms. The distance is maybe 400 feet, then 300. Gail raises her radio. "Cab, stop sounding horn. Do not sound horn." A male voice answers, "They're on the right of way. They're attracted to noise. Stop sounding horn." No answer. The gray coat man says, "Attracted to noise? What does that mean?" The construction worker says, "It means shut up." The gray coat man actually does. The train jerks forward 6 feet, then stops again. The lights flicker. A groan passes through the cars as brakes reset. The infected on the tracks keep coming. Now the word is there in my head. Infected. I do not know who gave it to me. The emergency alerts maybe. My sister maybe. The way people at the stations moved. Sick does not cover it. Violent does not cover it. Infected at least gives it a shape. The assistant conductor returns from the forward end, speaking fast to Gale. Engineer says signal is red and dispatch won't clear him. There's a maintenance truck fouling the track ahead. He can see it past the curve, no crew around it. Can we reverse? Control has a train behind us somewhere near Union Gate. Powered? Unknown. Gale closes her eyes for half a second. When she opens them, she looks older. The infected reach the side of the train. They hit the cars with open hands, shoulders, faces. The coach rocks slightly from repeated impacts near the doors. People pull back from windows. A few drop to the floor. One woman starts praying in a whisper. The boy with his mother tries to see, and she turns his face into her coat. The infected cannot open the doors. Not yet. That becomes the next lie. The doors are strong, sealed, controlled from the crew panels. We all understand this and relax a fraction. The shell holds. The train is still safe. Then a man in the rear vestibule pulls the emergency door release. He is not infected. He is not crazy. He is just convinced he knows better than everybody else. I see him from halfway down the car. He wears a green jacket and has a backpack strapped tight to both shoulders. He has been quiet until now. Maybe too quiet. He lifts the red cover near the door, grabs the handle and yanks. The alarm shrieks. Gale turns and runs. The rear door seal pops with a hiss. "Stop him!" someone yells. The construction worker lunges down the aisle, but bags and legs slow him. The man in the green jacket forces the door open 6 inches. Cold air punches into the coach. Outside hands slap the gap instantly. The man screams, "We have to get out before we're trapped!" Gale reaches the vestibule and grabs his arm. He shoves her away hard enough that she hits the partition. The construction worker gets there a second later and slams the man against the opposite wall. The open door bucks under pressure from outside. I move without thinking. So do 2 others. The quiet guy and I push through the aisle toward the vestibule. The assistant conductor runs from the front. The mother pulls her son under the table area between seats. Leon grabs a metal trash bin and wedges himself near the aisle. The construction worker has the green jacket man pinned, but the door is still open. Fingers hook around the edge from outside. A face appears in the gap, mouth working at empty air. The assistant conductor grabs the door handle, but something outside pulls against him. "Help me close it!" he yells. The quiet guy reaches the panel, braces one foot against the wall, and pulls with both hands. I grab the assistant conductor's vest from behind and pull him backward so his weight stays on the handle. The construction worker kicks the green jacket man's legs out from under him and adds his shoulder to the door. For 1 second, we are all pressed into the vestibule with the alarm screaming and dead hands clawing at 6 inches of opening. Then Gale reaches under the emergency panel and resets the release. The door slams. One hand remains caught inside at the wrist. The infected outside pulls. The trapped hand jerks. The door seal strains. Leon steps in with the trash bin and drives it down against the wrist. Not dramatic, not clean, just necessary. The hand drops outside. The door seals fully. The alarm keeps screaming until Gale kills it with her key. Silence after that feels damaged. The green jacket man sits on the floor, looking at the closed door as if it betrayed him. The construction worker points at him. "Zip ties, belt, anything." The assistant conductor hesitates. Gale does not. "Do it." 2 passengers produce belts. The construction worker and quiet guy bind the green jacket man's hands in front of him and sit him near the luggage rack. He keeps saying he was trying to save everyone. Nobody answers. There is no point. A person can be wrong and still believe himself useful. That is one of the first lessons the train teaches us. The lights flicker again. This time the ventilation cuts out. A long mechanical sigh moves through the ceiling. The background hum dies. The coach becomes too aware of itself. People, clothes, coffee, wet coats. The faint, sharp smell of the door seal after it was forced. Outside, infected continue hitting the train. Gail makes a new announcement, but she does not use the ceiling speakers. She stands in the aisle and speaks in her real voice. Listen to me. We are stopped because the track ahead is blocked. We cannot open doors. We cannot detrain here. The train has power for lights and controls, but we may lose systems if we stay in place. The crew is working on options. The gray coat man says, "What options?" Gail looks at him. "I said we are working on them." Leon steps closer to her and speaks low, but I hear it. "What about the cafe car?" Gail's jaw shifts. The assistant conductor answers instead. "We locked both ends." "Are people still alive in there?" The assistant conductor does not answer. Leon turns away, and for the first time I see anger cut through his professional calm. The quiet guy notices too. He says, "We need to separate cars if that spreads." Gail looks at him. "You know trains?" "No." "Then do not make suggestions that sound simple." He accepts that without offense. "Fair." A woman near the front says, "If the cafe car is between us and the engine, how are we supposed to get out?" That question changes everything. Our coach is behind the cafe car. Ahead of the cafe car is another coach, then the cab car or locomotive, depending on the consist. Behind us are two more coaches. If the cafe car is compromised and both ends are locked, we are cut off from the front. The engineer and whoever is forward cannot reach us. We cannot reach them without passing through a car with at least one infected person, maybe more. The train is no longer one shelter. It is pieces. Gail knows this. The passengers start to understand it in waves. The assistant conductor says, "Rear cars are still clear." "Are you sure?" Leon asks. "I came through them 10 minutes ago." 10 minutes is old information now. The assistant conductor looks toward the back door. A banging starts from behind us. Not outside. Inside the rear car. 3 hits. Pause. 2 hits. Then shouting. "Open up! Open the door!" People in our coach turn toward the rear vestibule. The bound man on the floor starts laughing once. Not because anything is funny, but because his mind has found the edge and stepped wrong. Gail goes to the rear door, with the construction worker beside her. Through the glass, I see faces packed in the next coach. Passengers, normal passengers, afraid, angry, trapped. A woman presses her ticket against the glass as if that proves the door should open. Gail cracks the intercar door just enough to speak through. "What's happening?" A man on the other side says, "Somebody's sick back here." Gail says, "Where?" "Last car, I think. People ran forward." "How many sick?" "I don't know." "Did anyone get bitten?" "I don't know." The people behind him shout over one another. Gail shuts the door. The construction worker says, "That's not staying back there." "No," Gail says, "it isn't." The assistant conductor's radio crackles again. 814, control to 814. Signal power lost north of Halden. All movements suspended. Maintain position. Emergency services delayed. Gail keys her radio. Control 814 cannot maintain position. We have infected individuals on board and outside. Request permission to reverse to Union Gate or proceed at restricted speed past obstruction. Static. 814, negative. Do not proceed. Obstruction unverified. Hold position. Gale stares at the radio. Control, Union Gate is overrun. Ravine Park is dark. Morgan and East Barron are closed. We cannot hold. The answer comes after a long pause. 814. All dispatchers are evacuating control floor. Maintain closed doors. God help you. The radio goes silent. Gale lowers it. Nobody speaks. That is the moment the railroad ends. Not physically. Tracks still exist. Signals still stand. Timetables still sit in apps and station boards. But the system behind them is gone. No dispatcher. No police access. No rescue plan. Just a train on a blocked track, full of people who are finally forced to stop being passengers. The construction worker says, "What's your name?" Gale Monroe. "I'm Daryl." "Good. Daryl, I need help keeping the aisle clear." He nods. Gale looks at Leon. "Medical?" "I have a small kit. Nothing for this. You stay near the middle, watch for bites, watch for fever, watch for anyone hiding an injury." Leon says, "People will lie." "I know." She turns to the quiet guy. "You, paperback." His eyebrows lift. "Owen. You stay by the rear door. Nobody comes through unless I say." Owen stands and moves without drama. "I can do that." Then Gale looks at me. "You, seat 22A. You helped with the door." Adam. She said, "Can you listen and repeat instructions without making them bigger?" That is such a specific question that I almost laugh. "Yes." "Good. You help keep people seated. No rumors." No rumors. On a train full of half information, that might be harder than closing the door. The plan forms in pieces. Not a grand survival plan. Just the next 10 minutes. We move passengers away from both doors. Families and older people in the center rows. Bags stacked as low barriers near the vestibules. Nothing that blocks crew access, but enough to slow a rush. Gale orders all window shades down on the platform side where infected are hitting hardest. Some passengers resist because seeing feels safer than not seeing. Daryl does not argue. He lowers shades with both hands and says, "You can hear enough." He is right. The infected outside keep striking the train, drawn by light, sound, movement. When the shades drop, some impacts shift toward cars with brighter windows. We learn fast. Light matters. Movement matters. Noise matters more than both. The rear door gets worse. Passengers in the next coach keep begging to come forward. Owen speaks through the glass with one hand flat against it, calm but firm. He tells them to stay back. He tells them Gale is checking. He tells them not to force the door. He does not promise safety. That helps, strange enough. Promises make people angry when reality breaks them. Then someone in the rear coach tries the emergency release. The alarm screams again, muffled through the door. Owen steps back. "Gale!" The intercar door shudders. Passengers in our coach start rising. "Sit down!" I shout. It works on some, not all. Gale runs to the rear with her key. Daryl goes with her. Through the glass, I see chaos in the next coach. People moving forward, a man climbing over seats, someone on the floor near the far end. The exterior side door in the rear coach opens a crack, and infected outside surge toward it. Gale cannot reset a door from our side if she cannot reach the panel in that car. The assistant conductor says, "We need to cut them off." Gale looks at him. He says it again, quieter. "We need to keep this car sealed." The rear coach passengers pound on the glass. Normal faces, human faces, a woman with a scarf, a man holding a laptop case, an older man with a cane. Behind them, More people push forward. Behind those people, movement becomes wrong. Daryl says, "If you open this, we lose both cars." Gail's hand stays on the key. For 2 seconds, no one breathes a word. Then a man from the rear coach slams into the glass, not pounding now, thrown or pushed. His forehead leaves a mark. He slides down, and behind him another face appears. Mouth open, eyes unfocused, hands clawing over shoulders of the trapped passengers. Gail steps back from the door. The woman with the scarf on the other side sees the decision. She stops pounding. She just looks at Gail through the glass. Gail says, "I'm sorry." The woman cannot hear her. The assistant conductor pulls the curtain over the rear door window. That is the second curtain. Our coach is now sealed between the cafe car and the rear coach, both compromised. One car, maybe 60 people. No dispatch. No secure station. Infected outside. Infected ahead and behind. This is where a movie would make somebody give a speech. Nobody does. Real people do smaller things. A man ties his shoe. A woman gathers loose crackers from her purse and gives one to the boy. Leon checks his medical kit and throws away packaging he does not need. Daryl removes his hard hat from his bag and puts it on. Owen takes off his coat, folds it, and wraps it around his forearm with a belt, making a crude guard. Gail stands in the aisle with both hands on the top of a seat and looks from one sealed door to the other, counting options that keep disappearing. My phone buzzes again, one miracle bar. My sister's message arrives in pieces. Mom is okay for now. Hallway blocked. Neighbor has radio. Emergency says stay away from stations. Adam, where are you? I type. Stopped before Halden. Train infected inside. I'm with survivors. I'll get out north if I can. I do not send it right away. I read the words and hate how unreal they look. Then I hit send. It hangs. The lights flicker a third time and drop to emergency mode. The car dims to a low yellow glow. Outside impacts become less frequent. Some infected drift toward the louder rear coach. Screams from behind the curtain rise, then get swallowed by metal and distance. People in our car sit with eyes fixed anywhere except the doors. Gail's radio comes alive with a voice from the cab. "Gail, you there?" She grabs it. "I'm here." The engineer's voice is tight. "We've got a maintenance truck about 200 yards ahead, parked across the southbound track. No operator visible, I can't move. There are people around it." "Can you change ends and reverse?" Rear is not clear. "I've got a dead train somewhere behind us and no signal authority." "Signal authority is gone." "I know." Gail closes her eyes again. "Any safe egress from cab?" "Negative. Track level has infected. I can maybe reach the service walkway if I climb down on the east side, but not with passengers." The assistant conductor says, "What about the roof hatch?" Gail gives him a look. "This is not a freight car." He shuts up. The engineer continues. "There's a maintenance access road down the east embankment. I can see a gate past the truck. If people could reach it, it runs toward Ash Creek Yard." Gail says, "How far?" "Maybe 1.5 miles to the yard. Maybe 2. Passengers hear enough to react. 1.5 miles outside sounds impossible to some and merciful to others. To me, it sounds both. But the access road is east. Our coach doors open on both sides depending on platform, but we are elevated here. With a narrow service path along the track and a sloped gravel embankment down to fencing. If we open a door, infected outside will come to the sound. If we stay, The car becomes a sealed room with failing power and infected at both ends. Gail lowers the radio and speaks to the assistant conductor. Dev, how many exterior impacts on east side? Dev moves to the shaded window and lifts a corner just enough to look. Fewer than west. Maybe 3 visible. Most are on rear car. Drop ladder? Doorstep to ballast is bad, but possible. We need quiet, small groups. Daryl says, We leaving? Gail answers him, not the car. We cannot stay. That spreads fast. People stand. Bags come down. Zippers rip open. Someone starts arguing about taking a suitcase. Someone else says there is medicine in it. A man tries to put on a winter coat while holding 2 phones and drops both. The boy asks if the train is broken. His mother says, We're going for a walk. Her voice almost holds. Gail raises her voice. Stop. Everyone stop. Not everyone stops. Daryl climbs onto the edge of a seat and shouts, Shut your mouths and look at her. That works. Gail points at luggage. Backpacks only. No rolling bags, no suitcases. If you cannot carry it with both hands free, it stays. Water, medicine, coat, phone, wallet, that's it. The gray coat man says, I have work documents. Daryl says, Leave them. They're confidential. Owen says, Good. Nobody will read them. A few people almost laugh. Almost. Leon moves through the rows. Moss, anyone bitten tells me now. Anyone scratched by teeth tells me now. If you hide it, you put children at risk. Nobody speaks. He checks visible arms and hands where people allow it. Some resist, then give in when Daryl stares. One older woman has a cut on her shin from falling during the brake stop. Clean edge, no bite. Leon wraps it. The cafe car woman has a bruise on her shoulder and coffee burns, nothing open. The green jacket man has no bites, but nobody wants him loose. Gail makes the decision fast. He stays. The green jacket man's head jerks up. No, you can't leave me tied. You opened a door. I was trying to get out. You almost got infected into this car. I can walk, I can help. Daryl says, You can stay. The man looks around for support. He finds almost none. That is ugly too. He is human. He is terrified. Leaving him tied in a train car feels wrong. Letting him come feels dangerous. There is no clean version of this. The mother turns her son's face away. Gail kneels beside the green jacket man. Her voice lowers. I'm going to cut your feet loose. Your hands stay tied. You can leave after the main group if someone volunteers to watch you. No one volunteers. The man starts crying, angry and helpless. Gail looks at Daryl. Cut his feet loose last. Then she assigns order. Dev opens the east side door at the front of our coach, the side with fewer infected. Daryl exits first with a fire extinguisher. Owen second. Then Leon, then the mother and boy, then older passengers, then rows by number. Gail stays inside until the last possible moment. I am near the middle group. She gives me one job. When you step down, keep people moving along the train toward the front, then down the embankment. Do not let anyone stop under the windows. The assistant conductor, Dev, goes to the door panel. His hand rests on the controls. Everyone freezes. The train outside still ticks and groans with heat and brake pressure. The infected at the rear continue slapping metal. From the cafe car comes occasional movement behind the curtain. I do not know how many are left in there, and I force myself not to imagine it in detail. Dev opens the door. Air comes in cold and dirty. The outside world is louder than the train made it seem. Sirens far away. car horns stuck somewhere below. People shouting from the road. The repeated hollow hits against the rear cars. Under it all, the open space sound of a city losing structure. Daryl steps down onto the narrow metal step, then to the ballast. He lands steady and turns, extinguisher raised. Owen follows and scans left. Dev leans out. "Clear for first group," he whispers. Whispers begin. Not words, just people releasing pressure through their mouths because silence is too hard. Leon goes out. The mother hands the boy down to him. The boy does not cry. He holds a stuffed dinosaur against his chest and looks at the rocks under his shoes with serious concentration. His mother climbs down after him and nearly slips. Daryl catches her elbow, lets go as soon as she is stable, and points forward. "Move." They move. Rows begin emptying. The process is too slow. Every jacket catches, every bag strap matters. Every person has to decide again at the door that he or she truly means to leave the train. Outside, the service path is narrow, an uneven ballast beside the rail. The drop down the embankment waits 20 feet ahead, beyond the front of our coach. The access road lies below a chain fence with a maintenance gate. I step down when my turn comes. The ballast shifts under my shoes. Train steel rises beside me, huge and dim. I can hear infected inside the cafe car now through the wall. Not words, scraping, a body striking a table. Farther back, rear coach windows shake from impacts inside and out. The train that felt safe from my seat now feels thin. I move forward with a line of passengers. Dev stays at the door helping people down. Gail stands inside, counting. Daryl guides us along the narrow path. Owen watches the west side between cars. Leon keeps the mother and boy moving. We reach the front end of our coach, where a short gap separates it from the cafe car. The door there is shut. The curtain inside is still drawn. Something hits the glass as the first passengers pass. A woman yelps. Daryl turns and puts one finger to his mouth. The sound spreads anyway. The infected inside the cafe car hit the windows. One face appears where the curtain has shifted. A man, maybe the original sick passenger, maybe someone else now. He sees movement outside and slams into the glass. The window holds. Another infected joins him. Then another. People speed up, and speed makes noise. Shoes scatter rocks. A suitcase wheel appears because someone ignored Gail and brought one. It catches between stones and clatters. Daryl grabs the suitcase by the handle and throws it down the embankment. The owner, a woman in a tan coat, hisses, "My medication." "Then get it from the bottom and keep moving." She climbs down after it, furious and alive. At the embankment, the path drops steeply. There is no staircase, just railroad rock, scrub weeds, trash, and a service fence at the bottom. The maintenance gate is 30 yards north, chained but not heavily. Beyond it, an access road runs under the elevated structure and curves away from the city. Daryl goes first. He half slides, half steps, using one hand on the ground. Leon takes the boy and passes him down carefully. The mother follows. Older passengers need help. People who complained about missed connections now form a rough chain because nobody wants to watch an old woman fall. For 2 minutes, we do better than I expect. Then the cafe car window cracks. The sound snaps across the track. Every person looks back. An infected inside has found something heavy. Maybe the metal base of a table. Maybe a loose panel. He strikes the glass again. The crack spreads. Gail is still at the open door of our coach. Dev is beside her. 5 passengers remain inside, including the green jacket man. "Move!" Gail calls. Not loud, sharp. The passengers on the embankment move faster. Rocks slide. Someone falls and gets up without being told. I reach the bottom and land beside the fence. The gate chain is old but real. Owen pulls at it. It holds. Daryl runs down last few feet, raises the fire extinguisher, and brings it down on the cheap padlock. Once, twice. The third hit breaks the hasp from the fence instead of the lock itself. The gate swings enough for one person at a time. People push. Single file, I say. Because Gail told me to repeat instructions and not make them bigger. Single file. Keep moving. For some reason, they listen. Maybe because any instruction sounds better than none. The first group passes through the gate onto the access road. It is cracked asphalt, lined with weeds and drainage ditches, running parallel to the tracks. A row of utility poles leans over it. Ahead, the maintenance truck blocking the rail is visible on the elevated track above, its amber roof light still flashing. From the train, glass breaks, not a full window blowing out. A section gives way. The infected in the cafe car react to open air. Gail and Dev are still helping the last passengers down. The green jacket man appears in the doorway with his hands tied. He is screaming at Gail to cut him loose. She tells him to jump. He refuses. Dev grabs him by the front of the jacket and forces him to the step. The infected inside the cafe car begin pushing through the broken window. The opening is small, jagged, difficult, but pain does not stop them. One forces shoulders through enough to hang outside, arms reaching toward the line on the embankment. A passenger on the slope sees it and starts running. He knocks into an older man. Both fall. The line breaks. Daryl climbs back up 2 steps of the embankment and yells, "Do not run past people!" The infected hanging from the cafe window drops to the ballast. It lands badly and still gets up. Then the next one drops. Gail pushes the green jacket man out the door. He hits the ballast on his side and rolls. Dev jumps after him. Gail follows last and slams the door shut behind herself, maybe out of habit. Maybe to slow whatever is coming through the coach. The infected from the cafe car see her. Gail runs along the service path, not toward us at first, but toward the front of the train. She waves Dev and the green jacket man down the embankment. Dev half carries, half drags the man with tied hands. The man stumbles, curses, pleads, and keeps moving because Dev does not give him another option. A third infected drops from the broken window. The rear coach erupts with sound as if the whole sealed car understands escape is happening outside. We get most people through the gate. Not everyone. The older man who fell cannot stand fast enough. His wife refuses to leave him. Leon runs back through the gate before anyone can stop him. I go after him because I am close, and because leaving 2 old people 10 feet away feels impossible in that moment. Leon reaches the older man and lifts him under one arm. I take the other. His wife grabs my backpack strap, not to pull me, just to stay attached. The older man says, "My cane, my cane." "Leave it," Leon says. "But I need..." "Leave it." We pull him up. The infected from the train hit the top of the embankment and start down. They do not handle the slope well. One falls and rolls, then starts crawling. Another comes down on hands and feet with awful focus. The slope slows them, but not enough. Owen appears at the gate with his wrapped forearm ready. "Move." We move. The older man's shoe comes off in the gravel. His wife tries to stop. I say, "No." It comes out harsher than I mean. She looks at me, then leaves the shoe. We get them through the gate. Daryl swings it shut behind us and loops the broken chain through enough to slow pursuit. not stop. Slow. That becomes the new standard for everything. The group is on the access road now. I count badly. 40, maybe fewer. I do not know how many left the train from our car. I do know the number is smaller than it was. Gail arrives last with Dev and the green jacket man. Dev has a cut above his eyebrow from somewhere. Gail has lost her conductor cap. Her gray hair is loose on one side. She still has the radio. Daryl says, "Where now?" Gail points down the access road away from Halden. Ash Creek Yard. Engineer said 1.5 miles. There should be a maintenance office, maybe vehicles, maybe radios. The gray coat man laughs once. He somehow still has his laptop bag. A rail yard? That's your plan? Gail walks right up to him. My plan got you off the train. Your plan was yelling at employees, walk or stay. He walks. The access road runs under the elevated track for a while, then curves along a drainage canal. The city is close but unreachable in any useful way. Apartment blocks line the far side of a chain fence. People stand at windows. Some shout down at us for help. Some tell us not to come closer. One man throws a bottle from a balcony, not at us exactly, just into the street below because he needs to do something. It shatters near a parked car. We keep moving. Gail sets rules while walking. No shouting. No phones without sound off. No splitting. Anyone injured tells Leon. Anyone who cannot keep pace moves to the center, not the rear. Daryl and Owen take rear watch. Dev and Gail lead. I stay near the middle with the mother, the boy, and the older couple because I have already helped them, and now I feel responsible in a way I did not choose. The boy's name is Toby. His mother is Erin. I learn this when she tells him, "Toby, stay on my coat. Hand on my coat." He grips the back of her jacket and walks. We pass under a road bridge. Above us, traffic is stopped solid. A man leans over the railing and yells, "Is the station open?" Gail does not answer. He yells again, "Hey, is Union Gate open?" Daryl looks up and says, "No." The man says something I cannot hear and runs back toward his car. A police helicopter passes overhead, low and fast, heading south. People on the road cheer for half a second. The helicopter does not slow. It vanishes behind smoke near downtown. That little cheer dies harder than silence. The access road narrows beside the canal. Water moves sluggishly below, carrying trash and oil sheen. The fence on our left separates us from the main road. Cars are abandoned there, doors open, engines ticking. A delivery van burns at an intersection ahead, but the fire is small, contained to the front. No firefighters come. No one even looks surprised by that now. Behind us, the train horn sounds again. Everyone stops. Gail turns back, angry. "No!" The horn blasts a second time. Long, continuous. Then it cuts off. Dev says, "Engineer." "Why would he do that?" Erin asks. Nobody answers, but I think I know. The engineer is still in the cab. Maybe infected are around him. Maybe he is drawing them away from us. Maybe his hand hit the horn while something happened. Maybe he made a final choice. The point is, we do not know, and not knowing becomes normal. The sound pulls movement from side streets. Infected emerge near the road fence behind us. 3 at first, then more. Some wear commuter clothes. One wears a police vest. One has a reflective rail worker jacket. Gail says, "Walk fast. Do not run unless I say." We walk fast. The green jacket man falls behind because his hands are still tied. He shouts, "Cut me loose, I can't balance." Daryl says, "Then stay close." "You people are insane." Owen moves beside him. "You opened a door and nearly killed a child." "I was scared." So is the child. The man has nothing for that. A side gate appears in the fence ahead, open enough for infected from the road to enter the access road. Dev sees it first. "Gate," he says. Gale points to a stack of concrete ties near the canal. "Block it." Daryl, Owen, Dev, and 2 others run to the ties. They are heavy, not something 4 people can throw around, but beside them are broken pallets and a rolling maintenance barricade. They shove the barricade across the open gate. I help drag pallets. The first infected reaches the gate while we are still working. It hits the barricade and pushes. Owen drives his wrapped forearm into its chest and shoves it back through the gap. Daryl brings the empty fire extinguisher down against the metal gate frame, making noise we cannot afford. But it startles the infected backward for 1 useful second. We wedge pallets between gate and ground. It will not hold long. It does not need to. Slow, not stop. We move again. The group is already changing. People who argued on the train now conserve words. People who were quiet now reveal useful skills. A woman named Priya knows how to keep Toby focused by asking him to count steps between utility poles. A man named Curtis used to work warehouse logistics and starts checking who has water, not to take it, just to know. Leon keeps watching sleeves, hands, necks, any hidden injury. Gale remains the center without asking for it. Daryl becomes the wall at the back. Owen becomes the person nobody notices until a decision needs a clean sentence. The gray coat man becomes a problem again at the worst time. We are maybe halfway to Ash Creek when he stops near a service driveway. The road beyond it leads toward a neighborhood of low houses and corner shops. He points. "My building is 3 blocks that way. I have a car and a secure garage." Gale says, "We stay on the access road. My car has gas. Roads are blocked." "You don't know that." I say, "We saw the roads." He ignores me. "I'm not walking to some rail yard with no guarantee." Daryl says, "Then go." Gale shoots him a look, but Daryl does not take it back. The gray coat man looks at the group. "Anyone with sense should come with me. I know this area." Nobody moves at first. Then 2 passengers step toward him. One is the woman with the tan coat and suitcase medication. The other is a young man who has been silent since Union Gate. Gale says, "If you leave, we cannot come after you." The gray coat man says, "I'm not asking you to." That part is honest, at least. The 3 of them go through the service driveway and toward the neighborhood. The tan coat woman looks back once. Gale does not call her back. When the group watches until the 3 disappear behind a row of parked cars. 30 seconds later, shouting starts from that direction. Then car alarms, then running feet. The young man returns first, sprinting. He slams into the fence from the other side of the driveway, misses the opening, corrects himself, and stumbles back to us. The gray coat man follows. He no longer has the laptop bag. The tan coat woman is not with him. "Infected," he says, as if we need the report. Gale grabs his sleeve and pulls him along. She does not scold him. That would waste time and breath. The car alarms spread through the neighborhood. Infected respond from every visible street. The access road is no longer quiet. The horn behind us, the alarms ahead, our own movement, all of it stacks into one huge signal. Ash Creek Yard appears through a gap between warehouses. At first it looks useless. Tracks, tank cars, gravel, a low brick office, 2 maintenance sheds, a water tower, a parking lot with chain gates. Then I see the fence around it is intact on the north side. A yellow high-rail truck is parked inside near the office. Another white utility pickup sits by the shed. A small tower with windows overlooks the yard throat. Gail sees it too. "Gatehouse," she says. We get inside and close the gate. The main vehicle gate is shut but not locked, held by a sliding bolt and chain. Dev runs ahead and opens it. The group funnels through. This time, nobody argues about single file because infected are visible behind us on the access road, drawn by alarms and movement. Not a horde in the movie sense. Worse in some ways. Scattered people coming from too many directions. Each one simple. Each one dangerous. Each one turning our delays into distance lost. Daryl holds the gate with Dev while the last passengers enter. The green jacket man is last again. He stumbles, catches himself against the fence, and screams for someone to cut his hands loose. An infected reaches him from behind the service road, fingers hooking into his backpack. Owen steps out, grabs the backpack strap, and cuts it with a small folding knife. The pack drops. The green jacket man falls through the gate. Daryl slams it shut. The infected hits the chain link, then another, then 3 more. Dev slides the bolt. Daryl loops the chain. The padlock is on the wrong side, hanging open. He snaps it shut through the links. We are inside Ash Creek Yard. Not safe, just inside another fence. The group spreads across the parking lot, but Gail pulls everyone back fast. "Office, now! Clear it first!" Daryl, Owen, Dev, Leon, and I go with her, because by now roles have formed without votes. The office door is locked. Gail tries her railroad keys. None fit. Daryl breaks the small window beside the door with the empty extinguisher, reaches in carefully with his sleeve wrapped around his hand, and turns the knob. The office smells stale, not rotten, not occupied. That is good. Desks, time clock, safety posters, old coffee cups, a radio charging station, lockers, vending machine, first aid cabinet. No people, no infected. We clear it room by room in the clumsy way ordinary people clear rooms. Too close together. Too loud. Not enough angles. But the building is empty. The group enters. Some sit on the floor immediately. Others keep standing because sitting means admitting the body can stop, and stopping feels dangerous. Leon takes the first aid cabinet apart and sorts supplies. Curtis checks the vending machine and finds it half-stocked. Gail goes straight to the radio base on the desk. It has power. She lifts the handset. "Rail control. This is Conductor Gail Monroe from Lake County 814 at Ash Creek Yard. Any station, any dispatcher, any emergency service monitoring, respond." Static. She tries another channel. "Ash Creek Yard office to any rail personnel, respond." Static. Then a voice comes through, faint and broken. "Ash Creek, who is this?" Gail closes her eyes for half a second. "This is Gail Monroe, passenger conductor. I have civilians sheltered in the yard office. Train 814 disabled south of Union Gate. You multiple infected on board and a long right of way. Identify yourself." "Yardmaster Pike. I'm in North Tower. Stayed to close switches. Thought everyone cleared out." Gail looks toward the window. The small tower stands across 3 tracks, maybe 100 yards away. "How many with you?" "2. 1 injured. Tower door secure. You?" Gail looks at the room. 31 in office. 31. The number hits the room harder than I expect. We started with maybe 60 in our car alone. The train had more cars beyond that. 31 in the office means not survival. It means remainder. Pike's voice returns. "Office won't hold if fence goes. North Tower is better. Steel door, 2nd floor, radio, sight lines. But you'd have to cross open yard." Gail says, "Vehicles?" "Keys for white pickup should be in dispatch drawer. High rail keys with mechanic. Mechanic's gone." Dev opens drawers until he finds a key ring with a plastic tag. Got pickup keys? Pike says. Parking gate on north side opens to County Service Road. That road runs out past the water plant. Police had a checkpoint there earlier. Earlier. Another old information word. Gale says, Can the pickup carry 31? No. The room already knows where this is going. Curtis says, We shuttle. Daryl says, Too slow. Owen says, Use the pickup to draw infected to one side. Move people to the tower, then decide. Gale looks at him. You said you don't know trains. I know fences and stairs. The fence at the main gate rattles harder. Infected from the access road are gathering there. Chain link bows under bodies pushing without coordination. It will hold for a while, but not forever. More infected wander near the far side of the yard, drawn by the car alarm still crying in the neighborhood. Leon says, We also have possible exposure. The room stills. He points to the green jacket man. He fell near the gate. I need to check him. The green jacket man backs away. No. Daryl moves between him and the door. Yes. I'm fine. Leon says, Then show your arms. No, Gale says. Show him. The green jacket man looks around again for support. Again finds none. He raises his tied hands. Leon checks wrists, forearms, neck, face, then asks him to turn. The backpack is gone, but his jacket is torn near the shoulder. Leon pulls the fabric aside. A bite mark sits high on his upper arm. Not huge, not dramatic, clear enough. The room changes around him. He says, It was the fence. Leon says, No, it was the fence. Leon says, No, it wasn't. The green jacket man starts crying again, softer this time. I opened the door because I didn't want to die in there. No one speaks. That is the worst part. He is not a villain now. He is a man who made one bad decision, then another, then got dragged through the result until the result entered his body. Gale says, We need to isolate him. The green jacket man drops into a chair. Please. Leon looks at Gale. I don't know the timeline. How long? I don't know. The cafe passenger changed fast. Or maybe he was sick before. The green jacket man says, Please don't put me outside. Daryl looks through the office interior. Locker room. There's a small locker room with one door and no windows except a high vent. It is cruel. It is also the only option. Gale explains it once. Not gently, not harshly. He will stay there with water. His hands will be cut free after the door is closed. If he remains himself, he remains alive. If he changes, he cannot reach the group. He begs, then curses, then begs again. Gale puts him in the locker room herself. Dev cuts the belt around his wrists through a gap before closing the door. Daryl wedges a metal desk against it. The green jacket man pounds once from inside. Then he says, I'm sorry. Nobody answers because nobody has anything clean to give him. The main gate fence begins to fail 10 minutes later. We hear the first post snap. Gale speaks into the radio. Pike, we are moving to tower. Pike answers, Go north side of office, cross track 3, stay away from the fuel shed. I can open tower door when you reach stairs. Gale turns to us. No bags except medical and water. We move in 2 groups. Daryl leads first group to the tower with children, older passengers, injured. Adam, you go with them. Dev stays with me for second group. Owen, rear watch. I want to argue because second group sounds worse. I do not. Gale is not sorting by courage. She is sorting by usefulness and position. The first group forms at the north door. Toby holds Aaron's coat. The older man has no cane now, so Curtis and I support him between us. His wife carries one shoe in her coat pocket because she still cannot let it go. Leon carries medical supplies in a canvas bag. Priya carries water bottles in a trash liner tied at the top. Daryl opens the north door. The yard is open and bright in a way that feels offensive after the dim office. Tracks cut the ground into strips. Freight cars sit silent on the far side. The tower waits across the yard with its steel staircase bolted to the exterior. The north fence still holds, but infected move beyond it on the road. The main gate behind the office shrieks as metal bends. We run, but not wild. Daryl sets the pace, fast enough to cross, slow enough that older people do not fall. Shoes slip on ballast. Toby trips once and gets up before his mother can grab him. Curtis and I carry more of the older man's weight. The tower door above opens. A man in an orange safety vest waves from the landing. Pike. "Incoming left," he shouts. 3 infected come from behind a parked tank car. Daryl turns toward them with the fire extinguisher even though it is empty. Owen, who must have left with us despite the plan, steps beside him with a length of pipe from somewhere. Leon pulls Aaron and Toby toward the stairs. "Up," I say. "Up the stairs!" Pike keeps the tower door open. People climb. Metal steps rattle under feet. The infected cross the track bed toward Daryl and Owen. They do not sprint cleanly. Ballast ruins their footing, but they do not care about twisted ankles or torn knees. They keep coming. Daryl hits the first one in the chest with the extinguisher and drives it backward into a coupler. Owen uses the pipe to keep the second at distance. The third gets around them toward the stairs. I let go of the older man once Curtis has him on the first step and grab a broken wooden chalk from near the rail. The infected coming at the stairs is a woman in a station cleaner's uniform. Her eyes pass over me and fix on Toby halfway up the stairs because he is moving fast and making small sounds he cannot control. I step between her and the stairs. I do not swing for her head. I do not do anything heroic. I shove the wooden chalk into her chest with both hands and push. She grabs at it. Her fingers scrape the wood. She keeps advancing, forcing me backward until my shoulder hits the stair rail. Pike shouts from above. Something slams into the infected from the side. Dev. He has come early from the office carrying a pry bar. He knocks her away from the staircase and keeps moving with her until both hit the gravel. He gets up. She gets up slower. That is enough. "Climb," Dev yells at me. I climb. Daryl and Owen back toward the stairs. More infected appear near the office. The second group is leaving now, Gail last, with the radio bag across her shoulder. Behind her, the main gate gives way, and infected spill into the yard in scattered lines. Pike pulls people into the tower room. It is cramped, but stronger than the office. Steel door, narrow windows, radio console, old lockers, a dead coffee machine. 2 yard workers inside, one sitting on the floor with his ankle wrapped. The other, a woman named Sela, holds a long wrench in both hands and looks ready to use it. The last of the first group enters. Daryl comes up backward. Owen after him. Dev waits on the landing for Gail. Gail crosses the yard with the final group. The infected behind her are too close. The gray coat man falls near track 2. For half a second, nobody moves toward him. That is the honest truth. Then Gail turns back. "Get up!" she shouts. He tries. His polished shoe is wedged between rail and ballast. He pulls at his own leg. Infected come around the side of the office. Dev runs down 3 steps. Daryl grabs his vest from behind. No. That's Gail. Gail reaches the gray coat man, yanks his foot free, and shoves him toward the tower. He runs badly, limping. Gail follows. An infected reaches for her coat and catches the back hem. Gale slips out of the coat without stopping. It comes off in the infected hands. She runs in her uniform shirt, radio bag hitting her side. Dev and Daryl pull the gray coat man onto the stairs. He crawls up, sobbing. Gale reaches the first step. Owen grabs her arm and hauls her onto the landing. Pike slams the steel door shut as infected hit the bottom of the staircase. The tower holds. For now. Inside, 31 people pack into a room meant for maybe 5. The air gets bad fast. Nobody complains. The windows give us too much view. The yard below fills slowly. Infected gather around the staircase and office. Some push against the tower legs. Some wander back toward the broken gate. The train is visible in the distance on the elevated track. Smoke rises near its rear cars now. Maybe electrical. Maybe fire from something else. The horn does not sound again. Gale takes the radio and calls on every channel Pike gives her. She reaches no dispatcher. She reaches no police. She reaches a county public works channel after 20 minutes of static and repeated calls. A man answers from the water plant north of the yard. His name is Harlan. He says there was a checkpoint at County Service Road, but the deputies left after the south fence failed. He says the water plant has walls, diesel, and 8 people. He says he cannot send vehicles into Ash Creek because infected are between his gate and ours. Gale asks, "Can you receive civilians on foot?" Harlan says, "If you reach the North Service Road before dark. After dark, we do not open." Gale looks at the tower windows. It is not even noon, but smoke already stains the sun. "How far?" she asks. 2 miles from your north gate." 2 miles. The room hears it and understands the day is not done. Pike has yard maps, real paper maps in a metal cabinet. Gale, Pike, Daryl, Owen, Dev, Leon, and I stand around one while everyone else sits or watches windows. The north gate leads to County Service Road. Between tower and gate are open tracks, then a line of maintenance sheds, then a gravel drive. The fence beyond the north gate looks intact from the tower. Infected are mostly at the south and east sides because noise drew them there. That gives us one route. The problem is the people who cannot run 2 miles. Leon says it first. The older man won't make it without a vehicle. The injured worker won't. Maybe others. Pike says, "White pickup seats 5. Bed can carry more if nobody complains." Daryl almost smiles. Nobody's filing comfort reports. The keys are still in the office, not the tower. Dev brought some things, but not the pickup keys. He thought Gale had them. Gale thought Dev had them. The key ring is on the office desk. This is how people die in real emergencies. Not from one grand failure, from one key left on one desk during one rushed move. The office is surrounded now, but not packed on the north side. The pickup is parked beside it. Gale says, "I'll go." Daryl says, "No. I know where the keys are." Dev knows. Dev says, "I know the drawer." Gale looks at him. "You're not going alone." Owen says, 2 people, quiet. Down the stairs, around the fuel shed, into office through north door if clear. Grab keys, start pickup, drive it to tower stairs, load people, then north gate. Daryl says, "That sounds simple, which means it's bad." Owen nods. "Yes." In the end, Dev and Owen go. Daryl hates it, but he stays because the tower door needs him. I want to offer to go and do not. This bothers me. It should. Courage is not automatic. Sometimes the honest thing is knowing you are not the best person for a job and not dressing that up as wisdom. Pike opens the steel door carefully. The staircase below has infected at the bottom, but fewer now. They drift when nothing feeds them sound. Sella drops a metal coupling part from the far window onto the gravel away from the stairs. It clangs hard. The infected turn toward it. Not all. Enough. Dev and Owen slip out. They move down the staircase quietly, then off the bottom rail and across track 2. We watch from above. Every person in the tower pulled toward the windows despite Gale telling everyone to stay back. Owen has the pipe. Dev has the pry bar. They move around the fuel shed and disappear from view. A minute passes. 2. Then the office door opens from inside. Owen emerges first and waves once. Dev comes behind him, keyring in hand. The infected near the office turn. Dev runs to the pickup. The truck starts with a loud diesel cough that might as well be a church bell. Every infected in the yard reacts. Owen jumps into the bed. Dev throws it in reverse too hard, clips a trash barrel, corrects, and drives across the yard toward the tower. Infected converge. One grabs the side mirror and hangs on for 2 seconds before falling. Another hits the hood and rolls off. Dev stops at the tower stairs. Daryl opens the door. Load! The injured yard worker goes first, helped by Pike and Sella. The older man and his wife next. Aaron and Toby. 2 older women. Leon with medical supplies. The pickup cab takes Gale, the injured worker, Aaron, Toby, and the older couple packed beyond comfort. The bed takes more, sitting low with people gripping rails and one another. That still leaves too many. Gale says from the cab window, "First shuttle to North Gate, not water plant. We stage there. Truck comes back if possible." Daryl says, "If possible. If the yard remains passable." Nobody likes it. No one has a better plan. The truck pulls away toward the North Gate, infected following behind it. That clears space around the tower but creates another problem. When the truck leaves, the infected trail after it toward the route we all need. Pike knows a second path on foot along the west fence, through a pedestrian turnstile near the signal bungalow. It avoids the vehicle gate but crosses more open ground. He says it has a coded lock. Gale asks for the code. Pike gives it to everyone twice. The truck reaches the North Gate. We see it stop. Sella, riding in the bed, jumps out and opens the gate. The truck rolls through with the first group. For a moment I see Toby's face through the rear window, pale and serious, dinosaur still clutched under his chin. Then the truck disappears beyond the fence. The rest of us wait. Waiting is harder after movement. The tower becomes a box of counting. Count infected near the stairs. Count minutes since truck left. Count people left. Count light. Count the distance to the west turnstile. Count everything except the missing. From the locker room in the office below, faint through walls and yard noise, comes a muffled pounding. The green jacket man has changed, or is changing. No one says his name. I realize I never learned it. That feels wrong and also too late. The pickup does not return. 5 minutes, 10, 15. Gale's radio crackles. "Tower, this is Gale. We are at North Gate. Road partially blocked. Cheetah truck disabled after impact with abandoned utility trailer. First group moving on foot to water plant. Do not wait for pickup. Repeat, do not wait. Use west turnstile." Daryl grabs the radio. "How many infected on the road?" Gale answers, "Manageable if quiet, bad if delayed. Move now." The transmission cuts. Daryl looks at the room. "You heard her." We move. No speeches, no ceremony. Pike takes the lead because he knows the turnstile. Daryl takes rear. I end up near the middle again with Priya, Curtis, the gray coat man, and several passengers whose names I still do not know. Dev stays close to the door with his pry bar. Owen watches the stairs. Pike opens the steel door. The infected below are fewer because the truck drew many away. 3 remain near the bottom. Sella, before leaving with the first group, Chiti had tied a rope from the landing to a maintenance hook on the far side of the stairs. Pike uses it to swing the lower gate outward and draw one infected away. Dev and Owen handle the other 2 with pipe and pry bar. Not cleanly, not quietly, but quickly enough. We descend. The yard smells of diesel, hot metal, and smoke from the distant train. We cross between freight cars, stepping over rails and hoses. Pike keeps one hand raised for stops. Twice we freeze while infected pass between cars ahead. The gray coat man whispers, "I'm sorry," to nobody in particular. Maybe to everyone. Nobody answers because silence is still useful. We reach the signal bungalow. The west fence turnstile stands behind it, half hidden by weeds. Pike enters the code. Nothing. He tries again. Nothing. The keypad is dead. For 1 second, all the discipline we built starts to crack. Pike says, "Power's out." Daryl says, "Can we climb?" The fence is topped with angled wire. Not impossible, but slow and bloody and bad for older passengers. Dev checks the gate hinges. Owen checks the latch housing. I look at the signal bungalow. Small concrete building. Steel door. Utility conduit running to the turnstile. Can the lock fail safe from inside? I ask. Pike turns. What? If power's out, is there a manual release in the bungalow? Pike stares at the conduit, then swears under his breath. Maybe. The bungalow door is locked. This time Daryl does not bother with finesse. The pry bar goes in. Dev leans with him. The frame gives on the second try. Inside is dark, close, full of electrical panels and dust. Pike finds the release box by touch and flips a lever. The turnstile clicks. That small sound nearly breaks me. People squeeze through one at a time. Outside the yard, the west service strip runs behind warehouses toward County Service Road. The north gate route is to our right, but Gale warned about the blocked road. Pike leads us along the fence, then through a drainage underpass that smells of mud and old rain. We move bent over for 50 yards, while infected groan and scrape somewhere above us on the road. The underpass opens behind a landscaping company lot. There are trucks in the lot. Locked. No keys visible. One has a cracked windshield and blood on the seat. We do not search long. Searching is noise. Searching is delay. The water plant is north. The city changes as we move away from the rail line. Less commuter chaos, more neighborhood collapse. Houses locked tight. Dogs barking behind fences. A woman on a porch points a shotgun at the street and tells us to keep moving. Gale's first group has passed here already. I can see footprints through spilled potting soil and one dropped water bottle near the curb. We do not approach the woman. Daryl raises one hand and says, "Passing through." She says, "Then pass." We pass. At County Service Road, we see the pickup. Its front end is crushed against a utility trailer half blocking the lane. Bloodless damage. Mechanical. A bad turn, too much speed, too little room. The cab is empty. Good. The road ahead slopes toward the water plant, visible beyond a low hill with its concrete walls and blue tanks. The first group is ahead by maybe a quarter mile. We see them moving. We also see infected moving behind them. Not many, maybe 8. But Gale's group includes Toby, older passengers, injured people. They cannot outrun 8. Daryl says, "We need to draw them." Gale would hate that plan. Gale is not here to stop it. Owen looks at the landscaping lot behind us. Truck alarms? Dev says. No keys. Owen picks up a rock. Simple works. He breaks the side window of a parked landscaping truck. The alarm starts screaming. Every infected in sight turns toward us or the lot. Daryl, Dev, Owen, Pike, and I throw more rocks at more vehicles until 3 alarms shriek over one another. Then we run off the road and behind a row of storage sheds before the infected can close distance. The sound pulls them away from Gail's group. It also pulls others from nearby streets. We create a problem to solve a problem. That is the pattern now. We cut through back lots and rejoin County Service Road farther north. The first group is closer to the water plant gate. Gail sees us and waves once, angry and relieved at the same time. The plant wall is concrete, 12 feet high, with a rolling gate reinforced by work trucks parked inside. A man on top of the wall holds a radio in one hand and a long pole in the other. Harlan. He does not open the gate when the first person reaches it. He looks them over from above. Gail shouts, "We have children and injured!" Harlan shouts back, "Any bites?" Leon answers from below. "None in this group." Harlan says, "Sleeves up, neck visible, one at a time." People curse him. I understand both sides. He is slow because slow keeps his people alive. We hate him because slow can get us killed. The vehicle alarms behind us continue. Infected move in that direction, but some peel toward the voices at the plant gate. Harlan opens the gate only wide enough for one person. His people check arms and hands. Leon helps because he knows what to look for. Toby goes in. Aaron goes in. The older couple. The injured yard worker. Priya, Curtis, one after another. Then our second group reaches the gate. The gray coat man is ahead of me. He pulls up his sleeves before anyone asks. No bites. He goes through and then turns back, waiting. I do not know for whom. Maybe for Gail. Maybe for the idea that he is not completely useless. Daryl stays outside the gate with Dev and Owen until almost everyone passes. The infected behind us are closer now. The alarms begin cutting out one by one as batteries or systems fail. When the last alarm dies, the road noise drops, and the plant gate becomes the loudest thing in the area. Harlan says, "Move faster!" Gail snaps, "Then check faster." He does. I get checked. Arms, hands, neck, turn around, lift pant cuffs. It is humiliating for half a second. Then practical. I step inside. The water plant yard is not paradise. It is concrete, pipes, diesel smell, stacked sandbags, exhausted people, and a wall that suddenly looks too low now that I have seen what pressure can do to fences. But the gate closes behind us. Trucks roll back into place. For the first time since Morgan Street, a barrier shuts with us on the better side. Not safe. Better. Daryl comes through last with Gail, Dev, and Owen. The gate closes as infected reach the road outside. They hit the metal. Harlan's people hold the trucks in place. Nobody cheers. Nobody has enough left for that. Inside the plant, they put us in a maintenance garage with the roll-up doors locked and the lights low. Leon checks everyone again. Water is rationed. Phones mostly have no signal, but one corner near the south wall gets a bar if the phone is held above shoulder height. People take turns sending messages that may or may not leave. My message to my sister finally sends at 4:42 p.m. alive. At North County Water Plant. Train shut down. Stations gone. I can't reach Mom today. Tell her I'm alive if you can. Locked doors. No stations, no crowds, no noise. I wait for a reply. None comes. I sit on the concrete floor beside a stack of pipe fittings. Across the garage, Aaron has Toby asleep against her lap. The stuffed dinosaur rests under his arm. Daryl stands near the door even though nobody asked him to. Gail sits on an overturned bucket with the radio in her hands, listening to channels full of static and broken voices. Owen reads his paperback under an emergency light, one page open, though I do not think his eyes move. Dev cleans the cut over his eyebrow with a wipe from Leon's kit. The gray coat man stares at his empty hands. Outside, infected hit the gate from time to time. Not enough to break it yet. Enough to remind us the day has not ended for the world, only for this part of our running. Harlan tells us the plant can hold through the night if nobody makes noise and nobody opens the gate. He says at dawn, maybe a county convoy comes. He says maybe the road north is still open. He says maybe the emergency broadcast tower near Miller Ridge is still operating. Every maybe sounds thinner than the last. Gail asks him for paper. He brings a clipboard and an old maintenance log. She starts writing names, not a passenger list, a survivor list. One by one, she asks who made it from train 814. People answer. Some give first names only. Some give full names, ages, emergency contacts, as if the form still matters. Maybe it does. Maybe records are what separate a disaster from people simply vanishing. When she reaches me, I say, Adam Bell. She writes it down. Then she asks, any family to contact? My sister. My mother if she's still in Halden. Gail's pen pauses on the paper, but she does not offer comfort she cannot prove. She writes the names. That is better. Night comes without one clear moment. The garage windows darken. The generator outside takes over with a low, steady sound. Harlan's people cover vents with metal mesh and hang blankets over the brightest cracks. We eat vending machine crackers, protein bars from passenger bags, and dry cereal from the plant break room. Nobody complains about the food. Hunger has already become practical. Leon checks the bite protocols he has invented during the day. There is no official sheet, no manual, just what he saw. Bite means isolate. Saliva in open wound means isolate. Unknown contact means watch. Fever means isolate. Confusion means isolate now, argue later. The rules sound cruel until I remember the cafe car, the rear coach, the locker room. At 8:13 p.m., the radio catches a public emergency broadcast. The voice is automated, calm, and already outdated. Residents are advised to remain indoors, avoid transit hubs, hospitals, schools, and large public gathering areas. Do not approach individuals displaying violent disorientation, loss of verbal response, or aggressive biting behavior. If bitten, seek medical attention immediately. People in the garage laugh at that last line. Not because it is funny, because medical attention is now a phrase from the morning. The broadcast repeats. Gail turns the volume down after the second loop. Toby wakes and asks if the train is coming back. Aaron says, "No, honey." He thinks about that. Were people still on it? Aaron looks at Gail, then at Leon, then back at her son. "Yes," she says. He nods once and lies back down. Children can accept direct answers better than adults sometimes. Adults keep trying to negotiate with facts. Around midnight, the gate gets loud. A cluster of infected has found the plant entrance. Maybe 20, maybe more in the dark beyond the lights. They push against the trucks, bracing the gate. Metal creaks. Harlan's people climb the inner platform with poles and flashlights, then turn the lights off because light makes it worse. Daryl, Dev, Owen, and I help move pallets of bottled chemicals away from the gate area and stack heavier equipment behind the trucks. Nobody uses guns. Harlan says shots bring more. He is right. The gate holds. The night becomes work. Move this. Brace that. Check the side door. Count people. Lower voices. Listen. Wait. Repeat. I do not sleep. A lot of us do not. I sit near the south wall with my phone raised in the one signal corner until my arm gets tired. Then I switch hands. Then I wedge it on top of a cabinet. At 2:06 a.m., a message arrives from my sister. Mom alive. Neighbor with her. Hallway quiet now. Building locked. I told her you're alive. Don't come tonight. Please don't. I read it until the screen dims. Then I type, I won't tonight. That is all I can promise. By dawn, the infected at the gate have thinned. Some wander toward noise farther south. Some remain pressed against the trucks, arms through gaps, fingers moving without purpose until sound gives them one. The sky turns gray over the water tanks. Smoke still rises from the city. No convoy comes. Harlan says the road north might be passable in small groups. Gail says we move only after checking maps. Daryl says he is staying with the group until there is a better wall. Owen asks if the plant has roof access. Leon asks for a clean room to isolate anyone who develops symptoms. Aaron asks if there is a bathroom Toby can use. Life shrinks to the next real need. Water, door, map, restroom, bandage, silence, route. I step outside into the plant yard after sunrise because Harlan needs volunteers to help move a truck from the east service lane. The air smells of smoke and chlorine. The city sounds far away and too close at the same time. From the top of the wall, I can see the rail line in the distance. A thin black line of smoke marks where train 814 stopped. The stations ahead are hidden by buildings, but I know what happened to them now. Skipped, closed, dark, overrun. Each one a warning we only understood after passing it. Yesterday morning, the train felt safe because it was moving. Now I understand movement was never safety by itself. It was just delay. The train carried us from one failing place to the next until the failure climbed inside with us. So every locked door saved someone and abandoned someone else. Every stop we skipped bought time and spent lives we could not see clearly enough to count. Every person on that train kept waiting for an authority to explain the rules, and by the time the rules became obvious, half the train was already gone. I am still wearing the same jacket from seat 22A. There is rail dust on my shoes and dried mud on my jeans. My backpack still has the empty folder for my mother's apartment papers. I carried it through the whole thing without thinking. A stupid empty folder meant for leases and utility bills, still zipped inside a bag that now also holds a water bottle, 2 crackers, and a list of names Gail asked me to copy. At the top of the list is Train 814. Under it are 31 names. Not enough names, but some. Gail says we will leave for Miller Ridge if the broadcast tower answers. Harlan says the plant cannot feed everyone for long. Leon says we need to watch the exposed for another day. Daryl says the North Road has to be checked before any group moves. All of them are right, which makes the next decision harder, not easier. I look south one more time, toward the dead stations and the smoke over the tracks. Then I go back inside the wall, because there is work to do before the next move, and work is the only thing that still makes sense.